So to start off with, the introduction does tell you a little bit that you do need to know. So they're going to look at push-pull stimuli to see if they can reduce the damage by pests to plants, which would lower productivity. So if a pest is eating a crop, it's removing some of the organic molecules, the carbohydrates for example, so that there's less that the farmer can sell, so it lowers the yield. So a push stimulus drives away the pest, a pull stimulus attracts the pest to a different plant, which you might apply pesticide to. So if a question asked, how could you measure the damage caused by the pests? So if you've got a 50 by 50 metre field, you do a random sample. So tape measures to create a grid. You pick random coordinates using a random number table, a random number generator, and then you place your quadrat and you can sample the percentage of plants that could have been damaged, and then do it many times, calculate a mean. So it's always worth, when you see a table, just making a quick judgment of what can you tell from what we've got. So in red, I put my brief observations. So first of all, mean damage to maize plants. So we've got a control, so that's what we're going to compare the results to, and we've got a test. So we can see that there is less damage to the test compared to the control, which looks good, but there's no standard deviation bars. We can't tell if that difference is significant in any way. So that'll be a negative against that. Looking at these, so for the lower mean, you can add the standard deviation. For the higher mean, you can minus the standard deviation. We can see that this value is still higher than that value, so there is a significant difference. And the same for the cost for the farmer. It costs significantly more in the test than it does in the control, so that's an against point really. And then in the total income for the farmer, we can see there's a significant difference as well. So there is significantly more income per hectare for the farmer. So that's a good point. So if they had to evaluate, should you use this push-pull stimuli, which we've got in the test, compared to the control, you can use what we've said already. So the idea that there is no overlap in standard deviations, and some good points here that there is less damage to maize plants and there is an increase in yield. Another 4 points that could agree with that statement is you've got a lot more profit, much more income in fact than previously, and it actually outweighs the costs even more. So there's a bigger difference between these two values here than there was here. In fact, there's $322 extra profit with the test compared to the profit that was made before. So that's all looking very, very positive. However, something you need to get used to saying, even though we do have standard deviations, so yes, you can tell if there's a significant difference, so you can say that in your answer. Without a statistical test, you can't really prove if there's a significant difference. You can't see to what level of probability that the difference is due to chance. So if there's no statistical test, always include that in evaluation as well. There's a question, why is it important to do a control experiment? Well, a control allows you to prove that the effect is due to whatever you're adding. So this control allows us to prove that the effect is due to the test that we're adding. A control would have to be done in exactly the same way, but without the push-pull stimulus. So in the second investigation, we've got push-pull stimulus again. So the push is on food without the pesticide. So this is to try and deter the pests from eating that. So will they go to another crop that's got this push on it? So it's a chemical that does that. The pull stimulus, so some plants have got a pull stimulus, a hormone that's going to attract insects, and these plants have got the pesticide on them. So the hope is that insects will get attracted to these plants and the pesticide will kill them. So in the control experiment here, where there isn't a push-pull added, so it's the same sort of plants that they'll be using but without a push and without a pull, we can see there is overlap between here and there, so it means that there's no significant difference. Whereas when the push-pull stimulus are added, there is a significant difference between the push plants and the pull plants. Just as a side note, we're looking at standard error here. This can be used, it's an old spec thing, but this can be used as a statistical test. A bit like a t-test can be used to see if there's a significant difference between means. Standard error can be used for that as well. So if someone said the push-pull stimulus is going to reduce damage or improve the control of insect pests, how would you answer this question? So we can see that on the we have significantly more food being eaten that's got pesticide. So not only is the mean higher, but the bottom of the standard error bar and the top of that standard error bar do not overlap. So we've got significantly more food with pesticides are being eaten, and significantly less food without pesticide is being eaten, because the bottom of that bar and the top of that bar do not overlap. So if there's significantly more of this food being eaten, that would result in significantly more insect deaths, because significantly more insects are eating the pesticide. So this means it's easier to control the insects. The last question you were asked to do was to evaluate. So journalists said that the days of the chemical pesticide use are numbered. Evaluate this statement. So if you remember back to the last resource, that pretty much, apart from using a statistical test, said that you would agree that the resource A shows successful control of pests without the use of pesticides. But there's quite a lot of disagree points for this. So first of all, there's only one pest crop that's been used. We've only tested it on one type of crop, so it might not be representative for all the other types of crop. Also, there's no comparison to pesticide use at all. It's just compared to against using a push-pull stimulus. So the use of pesticides might be a lot better. So we can't compare pesticides use to the push-pull use. It's only against a control that we've compared it. So that was from resource A. From resource B, they are using pesticides in this anyway. So in here, we are using pesticides. So the statement, the days of the chemical pesticide are numbered, well, they are using pesticides in this study, so that goes against that anyway. In general, productivity questions, along with populations questions that you did over the summer between Year 12 and Year 13, are very difficult to revise. You just have to practice lots and lots and lots of questions and try and work out how to get the mark points.